Thanksgiving dinner, my grandmother asked me, what the heck is this Bitcoin stuff anyway, right? And I said to her, do you remember when Visa cards first came out? You were used to paying with cash or with a check, and then a Visa came out. It was this weird payment system that you didn't understand. And she said, yeah, I remember that. I said, well, Bitcoin is just the next evolution of another payment system.
Brace yourself, Nakamoto was the foundation.
What up guys, Nakamoto Crypto here. Today we are discussing smart contracts. What are they and how do they work? Smart contracts are basically bits of a computer code that perform a set of instructions. That's it. Now, Dapps and decentralized applications are mainly applications that bundle together these smart contracts into packages so that people can interact with it. So for example, we are all familiar with apps and stores as we are downloading them on a daily basis. On our phones mainly, you browse, download the app that you want, and off you go. Now behind the lovely UX and the UI interfaces, these daily apps that you are actually downloading are performing a specific set of instructions as laid out by their creators. This could be a game, a calendar, or simply a way to buy goods and services. Smart contracts pretty much do the same thing. But the only difference is that with smart contracts there is no middleman. There's no person or a company that is holding your information or verifying it. The blockchain does that for you. It verifies and holds your records. Vitalik Buterin and the Ethereum community believe that this is the future of the blockchain. If Bitcoin is the gold of the business world, then smart contracts are the oil business the world is running on. So how do these smart contracts work? Let's say you want to buy a car without a smart contract. In order to do this, you're gonna need a listing site to hold the information on all the cars you would like to see. You're gonna need a way of communicating with the sellers, a payment system that allows you to exchange money once you found your car, some capacity to get a refund if the car turns out to be a dud. You will also need to register the exchange of a car ownership with the authorities. So each of these steps requires you to trust the site or service that you are accessing. And a lot of the time, each part of that process is controlled by a different company or simply another individual. Therefore, it would only take one sneaky person or organization to change any of the above, making the whole process nullified or void, ripping you off in the process. But a smart contract can remove all of the trust to so many of these people and these processes of buying your car, as smart contracts are secure, using cryptography to stop people from altering records and playing with them. They are transparent. Everyone can see on the blockchain what the smart contract is and what it is being used for. They are third-party free, as the smart contracts themselves don't need a middleman to be verified. The blockchain does that for you. They are autonomous, as they work automatically so that you are not having to wait for someone to push a button for you. They are accurate because smart contracts are written in codes. They don't just rely on the gray areas of a language and what words mean. This is the system of if this happens, then do this. At the heart of a smart contract tends to be a mechanism that says in computer codes, if this happens, then do this. These already exist today. Let's say you want to pay for something using a debit card or a credit card. The software that your bank runs on will use the if this happens then do this method in the following way. If the amount in the bank account is larger than the sum requested, then release the funds. If the amount in the bank account is smaller than the sum requested, then don't release the funds. The difference with smart contracts is instead of a bank or any third party being the controller of that decision, it falls to the blockchain. So taking the above example of applying it to a smart contract built on a blockchain, you would see the following. If the amount in the digital wallet is larger and has not been spent already, release the funds. If the amount in the digital wallet is smaller or has been spent already, then do not release the funds. The exciting bit about smart contracts is that anyone can enter into an agreement with anyone else, with the blockchain keeping a record of the whole thing. So like regular contracts, smart contracts are designed to enforce the term of an agreement. Whether this is an exchange of cryptocurrencies, tokenized rights, proof of identity, or practically anything else. Smart contracts will automatically execute when predefined conditions are met. The operation of a smart contract can be briefly described with three main terms. Number one is interconnectivity. Each smart contract usually has a restricted set of functions. Several smart contracts can be set up to connect with one another and can form more complex arrangements known as decentralized applications. Secondly, these are signatories that interact with the smart contract and the subject, which is modified based on predefined or newly submitted terms. And finally, the environment. Smart contracts are dependent on an underlying cryptographic environment. This ensures that they can operate securely and that the data they act on is immutable and generally transparent. So for most blockchains, the code underlying the smart contract is immutable, though several blockchains also support the updatable smart contracts. So who created smart contracts? So just like how the blockchain is used to power most cryptocurrencies, smart contracts were derived from earlier technologies that were not complete. In the case of smart contracts, they are derived from an earlier electronic instruction execution program that used statements and other conditional logics to automatically produce an outcome based on the information it is presented with. The term smart contract itself can be traced way back in the 1990s in an academic paper created by a gentleman named Nick Szabo. Yes, the Nick Szabo is the one who came up with the term smart contract. He is a prominent computer scientist and cryptographer and an early cypherpunk that was also responsible for developing one of the earliest precursors to Bitcoin, known as BitGold. Szabo initially described smart contracts for a variety of basic purposes like fraud reduction and enforcing contractual agreements, but later elaborated on the potential use case of the technology to digital cash, smart property, and more back in 1996. Ethereum implemented a Turing-complete language on its blockchain, allowing for complex and sophisticated logic in smart contracts. So how do these Dapps or decentralized applications use smart contracts? Dapps or decentralized apps can be best thought of as a bunch of smart contracts tied together. A smart contract on its own can only be used for one type of transaction only. A Dapp, on the other hand, can bundle multiple smart contracts together to do more sophisticated things with it, as a Dapp can also put a friendly interface on top of the smart contracts, just like apps do today. Here are examples of notable Dapps that you might have come across. Augur, a simple tool that allows anyone to speculate on derivatives. MakerDAO, a decentralized finance Dapp that enables users to lend and borrow cryptocurrencies without needing a middleman. Uniswap, an Ethereum-based exchange that allows anyone to swap ERC20 tokens. CryptoKitties, a unique NFT-based crypto collectibles that can be bred using smart contracts. Argent, an Ethereum wallet that uses smart contracts to abstract away concepts like addresses and private keys. So who is using these smart contracts? Smart contracts are relatively a new technology, but they have already seen widespread implementations, particularly among pure crypto projects. Smart contracts are the heart of the entire decentralized finance revolution and are used to power popular DeFi protocols like Compound, Aave, Uniswap, and hundreds of others. But they also have been adopted by a host of corporations, and even some governments have begun experimenting with smart contracts. Some of the most prominent examples of these governments and entities include Ubisoft, a video game giant that has embraced blockchain in a big way. It crafted specially designed smart contracts allowing users to own, transfer, and claim rare non-fungible tokens based on its popular Rabbids gaming franchise. Dutch bank ING has co-created Finality, a blockchain-based trade settlement system using smart contracts. It's also involved in a number of other blockchain initiatives. The Swedish government has tested a blockchain-based land registry for providing ownership of land which is built on smart contracts. So the downside is that smart contracts aren't always perfect. Although smart contracts are generally considered to be a trustless way of enforcing agreements and logic, they don't come without their fair share of problems. For one thing, smart contracts are immutable on many blockchains. This means that once they launch, they cannot be changed or upgraded, which can also lead to disastrous consequences if there are underlying issues with the code. This is perhaps best highlighted by the 2016 Ethereum DAO hack, which saw an unknown hacker siphon off millions of Ethereum by exploiting a loophole in the DAO's split function. Unknown and novel attack vectors can also often be exploited, usually ending with investors losing a lot of money. This was seen in September of 2020 with the collapse of the tested version of Eminence, a project by Yen Finance's Andre Cronje. It was exploited for $15 million by an unknown hacker after a huge number of investors sank their money into it. Likewise, a simple bad code can render the smart contract to be effectively useless. This was seen with the collapse back in August of this year of the DeFi project known as YAM, which used an unaudited smart contract and was thwarted by a critical bug that rendered its governance feature useless. So those smart contracts are secured by their underlying blockchain technology. They also need to be secure by design, since a certain function of errors in their code can be exploited. This happened a number of times in the past already, and remains one of the biggest challenges to the widespread adoptions of smart contracts. So in total, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of assets have been drained from unsecured smart contracts. This includes the aforementioned Eminence hack and an April 2020 hack that saw $25 million stolen from D-Force. A November 2020 report by blockchain investigation firm CipherTrace found that around $10 million a month is drained from these DeFi projects alone. So to help minimize this risk, a number of third-party development and security firms such as MITHX and Consensus Diligence now offer smart contracts auditing services. This involves scrutinizing the smart contract code to identify any vulnerabilities which can then be fixed. This usually occurs before any smart contracts is made public. Popular Dapps will often post their smart contracts audited in the footer of their website, providing confidence to users who don't have the time or expertise to check the validity of the code themselves. So what is the future of smart contracts? Nowadays, most blockchains have smart contract functions, which active communities and developers creating dApps using smart contracts on the blockchain such as Cosmos, Neo, and Hyperledger. The scope of smart contracts capabilities can range from something very simple like Bitcoin and Litecoin to more advanced on Dapps capable blockchains like Ethereum, Tron, and Polkadot. So in conclusion, we are still in the early days of what smart contracts and Dapps can be used for. But there are companies out there and even governments experimenting with their potential. They are now used for huge range of tasks, including digital identities, supply chain management, insurance, data storage, and a whole lot more. So what are your thoughts on smart contracts? Let us know in the comment section below. Like the video, share, subscribe for some daily crypto content. I have been Mr. Nakamoto Crypto, and I'm out.